It is possible, although I never seem to get it to quad this whole thing, and I just died. What's going on, guys? It's Kellen here, and welcome back to Start Your Systems, where today we're going to be playing all of the pit bike tracks in MX vs ATV Legends now. But specifically, we're going to start out on the Dog Pound pit bike track, which has been updated in the latest update to the game to kick off 2025. And now you can play it as an event as well. So we're going to show off the event. What the heck? We got like mini horses in the background. I don't know what's going on right here, but this is going to be fun because we're going to take a look at all these pit bike tracks and see how far we've progressed and also battle 15 other dudes. I'm on Legends difficulty, so I'm all the way cranked up, and we got deformation all the way up as well, so track's going to get a little bit rough, but we're only doing 3 laps on each track just to kind of try them out and see how they play and see how they feel. This Lawrence Brothers track, I feel like, is a very big pit bike track. It's not like a little low-key, small jump pit bike track. It's got some big ones on it, and it kind of, I don't know, like goes around quite a little decent spot of the compound here. So if you're on the Lawrence Brothers compound and you're confused about where this track is, you actually spawn over there to my left, and then the Clay SX track, you could kind of see it at the top of the hill right there, is right to my left, and then the sand track is just below that. So it's kind of at the bottom, what I would call the bottom left of the map, but I feel like if you've explored the map at all, you've probably seen this track and maybe just ridden on it on a 450 and didn't know it was a pit bike track. But it is a pit bike track, and man, these guys race ridiculously hard. I didn't realize that the AI, by the way, if they run into you, you just like slow down to a stop. Like when I get ran into by the AI, even if I'm still wide open, the bike just stops moving. So I don't know if that's necessarily like something that's great about the game, because I guess if you get 2 bikes running into each other, they would slow down in real life. But it's kind of annoying that you're trying to like move forward and you're just pinned wide open, and they're just pinned into the back of you, because at the end of the day, they are still AI and are not very intuitive to the fact that you exist for the most part. See, like I just was getting slowed down right there on the side of Dylan Ryan. Didn't get this jump again, and we just die. And then the pit bike just doesn't want to go up the hill even with the clutch boost. So casing that jump twice has probably just made it so I'm not going to win this race. I just absolutely yeeted that guy off the track. He's gone. Look at how rough this track has already gotten in 2 laps. We still have 1 more lap to go, so we get to see just how burly this guy gets. Look at that. These passes are brilliant, man. Oh, we're going deep onto the start straight, though. Oh, my gosh. Almost just land on that guy. Yeah, this track, though, like I said, it's pretty fast, pretty wide open. Feels not like a pit bike track. Like, there are other pit bike tracks that are in the game that we'll check out here in a minute that, to me, feel much more like pit bike tracks. This one does not. Like, it feels like... Honestly, it kind of feels like it's a really good 125 track, maybe. Has, you know, some pretty good sized jumps. It's small enough that like a 450 would just be uncomfortable on it, but still, you know, good enough jumps that you can get really moving on a 125 and probably still have a decent amount of fun. Oh, this time we're actually going to clear it and pass a bunch of the AI because we're able to clear it. And we'll rip this corner and sneak through the middle and clear this guy. So I don't even know what position we're getting up to now, but we're making some moves. And that's, so there we go. Jess Hodge just ran to the back of me and slowed me completely down, brother. Eric Lepanin almost got by him at the end. We'll just do a sick bar hop 180. Almost landed it. But that is the Lawrence Brothers pit bike track. And again, we have donkeys or horses hanging out by the podium. All right, let's check out the next one. All right, back to the OG. It's the Rawlings Cornfield pit bike track, which was one of the 2 tracks that came out when the Element Bike Pack dropped. And of course, the pit bikes are DLC. So if you're confused about how you even get these bikes in the first place, I am on the 110F Element, and there's the 50, I think it's just a 50cc because it's not a 50F. It's literally a 2-stroke 50, which for those of you that I've seen complain about why would a 50 not be a 4-stroke, not all 50s are 4-strokes. Some 50s are 2-strokes, Cobra 50s, KTM 50s, 2-strokes, so I think that's what they modeled it after. And I don't really mind it, I guess, because we have the 110F 4-stroke, so it feels like this is like the, I don't want to call it the true pit bike, but in that regard similar to a true pit bike. And then you have the little racer pit bike as well, KTM, and the Cobra 50, but it's just the Element 50. I like how these 2 lines work out pretty evenly too. Like we went into the split and came out of the split, and we're still pretty much nose to tail. So that's kind of cool. We'll check out the different option here in a second. But this is a very good pit bike track because to me, I feel like the jumps are very much more similar to pit bike jumps. We got a little table right here. You got a little step up double right here. That's a very fun kind of pit bike type jump. That's not supposed to be jumped like that, but that's okay. And we got a step up here, land on the downside of that, and that triple's a little bit bigger than most pit bike jumps, but still pretty good. And a little table right there. Whoop section, little rollers, I guess is what you call them. Not even a whoop section. Then a double into this corner. Come out of this, and boom. One more lap to go, and we're in the lead. We're going to win this ship through the silos. But yeah, I think this one, as opposed to the Lawrence Brothers compound, is much more of a actual pit bike track, or what I would call a pit bike track. Tight, technical, steep jumps. Like pit bike jumps, my brother always rode pit bikes when I was growing up, so I'd always go hang out with him, and eventually I started riding pit bikes a little bit too, but not as much as he did. And they always built pit bike jumps like BMX jumps. It's just the way everyone builds pit bike jumps. They don't build them like forward and out. They build them straight up and down. And this reminds me very much of that, with how up and down the jumps are all around this track. So we pick up the dub in this one, and let's go check out some more. All right, so the second pit bike track that was already in the game when the pit bikes came out was the Sleigh Ground pit bike track, because the Sleigh Ground was already out by the time the pit bikes came out. So this track was here. We didn't have the pit bikes yet, so I thought it was kind of fun when I was just riding a 125 around this. But then the pit bikes came out, like I said, and we got to rip around this little track right here, which, again, very, very much like a pit bike track. Steep jumps, steep landings. He's even got this little like tunnel ride ledge thing that you go over. Don't get stuck right there. So it kind of feels even like a little cheap backyard kind of design pit bike track, where you're just throwing a bunch of random things together and seeing what kind of a fun track you can make. I don't want to call it cheap, I guess, because it probably isn't cheap to make this little tunnel thingy, but feels that way. Definitely remember building wooden ramps like that when I was a youngin'. But yeah, steep jumps, like I said. Like the only thing that is unrealistic to me about this pit bike track is probably this double right here is a little bit big right out of a corner. And then it is possible, although I never seem to get it, to quad this whole thing. And I just died on that. But there's enough speed going through there that should be a pretty doable pit bike jump. And obviously this one's pretty fun to kind of float over. AI is pretty challenging on this one though. They're just riding a straight line. Like there's not a lot of variation to their line choices. But they actually kind of rip on the Sleigh Grounds track. So kudos to them, because I think they're taking me the cleaners in this one. We're going to fight back though. We're going to see if we can't quad our way by them. Sneak through the middle and quad. Nope. A little bit short again. So we'll come over here, we'll scrub and try to get to this inside. Oh, I thought I was going to make a sick pass, and I smashed my face on the hay bale. Gonna make 2 more passes, 3 more passes, final corner. Nice. I don't know what I just finished. 4th, 5th, something like that. So that's the Sleigh Ground track. And next up, we're going to head to Fox Raceway. All right, here's the Fox Raceway pit bike track. Again, this is part of the 2024 Track Pass DLC or AMA Pro Motocross DLC pack, and you get the Fox Raceway pit bike track with it. And similar to what I just was speaking about what a pit bike track should look like versus ones that are not pit bike tracks, this track is literally designed to be a pit bike track. It's more or less used as like an 80cc track at Fox Raceway during the week. I live pretty close to the track, so I see this all the time. But then they have pit bike invitationals literally on this little stretch of the facility. I'll try to point out like where we are on Fox Raceway in case any of you are, fans of motocross and watch it. Finish line jump, pretty much right in front of me to my right, right behind that like building, and then this way goes like the uphills and downhills of Fox Raceway, and then we're in. I honestly think that this little area that is built down right here was an area that they dug out to get dirt for the track that is used on the main track. I don't know that for sure. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that to be fairly true, because it's like kind of not a literal natural cave necessarily over here. It looks very built. So, but I could be dead wrong on that. either way, like I said, they have pit bike invitationals. I think they do 1 or 2 every year on this, and they'll roll out some lights. And I actually probably should have raced this one at night so that we could mimic that. But roll out the lights, get a bunch of people out here, and just have a good time. And it's pretty cool to see it laid out here in the game. I don't know that this is any one of the layouts in particular, but I'm assuming since they probably did some, 3D scanning of some of the tracks and stuff like that in the game, that they probably did snag a layout from last year that was similar to this, and then just maybe make a couple quick changes to turn it around and whatnot. But it's a fun track. Like it's a cool layout. It's pretty low key. Like there's not a lot of really massive jumps on it that are hard to get. The tabletops are pretty small. I'd say maybe the rhythm section right here is kind of the most challenging thing, because you could do this table, but you could also jump to this, or you could try to triple at some point if you're carrying enough momentum or getting hit from behind like that. So there's a lot of different things you can do. You can also get absolutely thrown around by the AI right now. I don't know what is going on. They're literally all over the place. And I just got stuck on a hay bale again, and I'm going to finish in dead last in this race. But this is the Fox Pit Bike track, and let's go check out Redbud next. So in terms of real tracks, again, this is the real-life Redbud track that's to the right side of the screen right here, and then this is literally in like the parking lot for Redbud. And this track, although it's not necessarily in the exact right spot, it's a little bit closer to the road that you come off of from Redbud. This is a real track. This was used for the Pit Bike of Nations race in 2022 when Nations came to Redbud. It's, I think, most of the time there anyway, just as like a practice track. I don't really know what it's used for other than, what I saw it used for at Motocross of Nations, but it's definitely there. All the jumps are here and stuff like that. So kind of cool again to see this brought to real life, but this is definitely not what I would call a pit bike track. Yes, it was used for the Pit Bike of Nations, but it was not to this level. Like they had toned it down a little bit for that. I honestly did play this track already once with a 125, and to me, a 125 is perfectly crisp for this track. A lot of fun, easy to do kind of all the big lines and jumps and stuff like that, but also really fast and flowy based on this layout being kind of a bit more open than the other pit bike tracks, I feel like, at least in my opinion. So it's a cool track, but I think it's not really what I would call a pit bike track. And I guess what I should say about this video is, like, I just kind of wanted to show off all the different pit bike tracks that we have now, especially because I think pretty much almost all of these except for the Rawlings Farm one are DLC. So you may not even know, even if you have the Element Bike Pack, that some of these tracks are straight up available. You might have the Element Bike Pack and not have the Pro Motocross tracks because you don't have the Pro Motocross pack, or maybe you have the Element Bike Pack and you don't have the sleigh grounds, or different things like that. Like, obviously, if you buy the game now, I believe from 2024 onward, if you bought the game, it comes with a lot of this stuff in the game already. So instead of a lowered price for the game, they sell it at the same price, and then you get some basically more content instead of, like it's an older game now, it's 3 years old, but you get more content with the game if you buy it for the price in which it, originally came out as. And, I think that's kind of cool because, again, if you're just like now thinking, oh, this game looks pretty fun, like I think I want to get it, you actually can get it and get a lot of cool content with it. It's not just the base game with none of all this fun DLC, which I think the DLC makes this game a lot more enticing. And I know people hate microtransaction games. EA has been a staple of how to do that poorly. I don't think that this is necessarily doing all that poorly, because they're almost always giving the players what they're asking for. Like, they'll go to fan feedback and be like, what do you guys want? And they go pit bikes, and so they give you pit bikes. And then you go, well, what else do you want? Well, we want more cool custom compounds. Here's a Lawrence Brothers compound. Like, I feel like they're really making an effort to give us fans cool stuff to play. And so I think that even though microtransactions aren't the coolest thing about video games, the DLC packs that come with this game are a lot of fun. And it's kind of cool to check out all the tracks that are now available, like I said, for the pit bikes. So that is Redbud, and that will do it for us here for all the tracks that are now available pit bike racing in MX vs. ATV Legends. The Lawrence Brothers Compound, Rawlings Farm, Sleigh Ground, Fox Raceway, and Redbud. 5 tracks, fun times to be had all around. And appreciate you guys stopping by and watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. So long for now.